In 2021, a research team in Australia set up cameras in a tank containing a sleeping octopus. They wanted to document rest patterns, sleep duration, basic behavioral data, standard stuff. What they captured instead broke neuroscience. The octopus was changing colors rapidly, cycling through patterns: brown, white, dark spots, light spots, the entire body rippling with chromatic shifts. But it wasn't awake, it was asleep, deep REM sleep. And the color changes weren't random. They correlated with rapid eye movements, with muscle twitches, with all the neurological signatures we associate with one thing and one thing only: dreaming. The octopus was dreaming, and we could watch the dream play out across its skin in real time. Dark brown rippled across its body, camouflage mode, hunting mode, then white flashed across the arms, alarm colors, defensive posture, then back to brown, stalking. The researchers watched this sequence repeat, a dream narrative, played out in color on living skin. For over a century, we assumed dreaming was exclusive to vertebrates, mammals, some birds, creatures with complex brains, consolidated neural structures, the hardware required for consciousness. But here was an invertebrate, a mollusk, with a brain the size of a walnut distributed across 8 arms, demonstrating one of the most sophisticated cognitive processes we know. Dreaming requires memory, requires the ability to simulate experience, to replay events, to process information subconsciously. It's not instinct, it's consciousness. And we just watched it happen in an animal we classified as simple, primitive, driven by reflex and chemical signals. We were catastrophically wrong. Because the dreaming octopus isn't an anomaly. It's a window into an intelligence so alien, so fundamentally different from mammalian cognition that we spent decades failing to recognize it as intelligence at all. Octopuses have 9 brains. 2/3 of their neurons are in their arms, not their heads. Each arm can taste, touch, and make decisions independently. They can edit their own RNA in real time to adapt to environmental changes. They've built underwater cities. They throw objects at annoying neighbors. And they can learn by watching other octopuses solve problems. For 50 years, we studied these creatures under the assumption that invertebrates were simple. That intelligence required a centralized brain. That consciousness was impossible without a backbone. And we were wrong about all of it, because octopuses aren't intelligent despite being invertebrates. They're intelligent in a completely different way, a way evolution stumbled upon independently, an alien intelligence that emerged from a radically different blueprint. And the more we study them, the more we realize we don't understand intelligence at all. Let's start with the brain, because that's where all our assumptions began, and where everything fell apart. Mammals, humans included, have centralized nervous systems, one brain, located in the head. It processes sensory input, makes decisions, sends commands to the body, hierarchical, top-down. The brain is in charge. Octopuses don't work that way, not even close. An octopus has approximately 500 million neurons. For context, that's comparable to a dog. More than a mouse, more than most birds, respectable by any measure. But here's the weird part. Only about 180 million of those neurons are in the central brain, the head. The other 320 million are distributed throughout the 8 arms. Each arm has a cluster of neurons, a ganglion, that controls that arm's movement, sensory processing, and basic decision-making. These aren't just relay stations passing information to the central brain. They're autonomous processing units. An octopus arm can solve problems on its own, without input from the head. Researchers proved this in 2011. They severed octopus arms. Humanely, arms regenerate, and observed their behavior. The detached arms continued to function. They explored. They reacted to stimuli. They even tried to pass food toward where the mouth used to be. The arms don't know they're detached. They're still operating independently, still making decisions, still processing information. It's distributed intelligence. 9 brains working semi-independently. And the central brain doesn't micromanage. It sets goals. The arms figure out how to achieve them. This is so fundamentally different from how we think intelligence works that neuroscientists had to invent new terminology. They call it embodied cognition. The body isn't just executing commands, it's thinking. But it gets stranger, because in 2017, researchers discovered that octopuses can edit their own genetic code, not across generations, in real time, while alive. RNA editing. It's a process where the genetic instructions copied from DNA are altered before being translated into proteins. Most organisms do this rarely. A few dozen sites in the genome. It's usually a response to disease or stress, pathological, not adaptive. Octopuses edit their RNA at over 60,000 sites. That's not a typo. 60,000. They're rewriting their genetic instructions on the fly, producing proteins that don't match their DNA blueprint. Why? Because it allows them to adapt to environmental changes without waiting for evolution. Water temperature drops. Edit the RNA. Produce proteins optimized for cold. Predator pressure increases. Edit the RNA. Adjust neural signaling for faster reflexes. It's evolution in fast forward. Adaptation measured in days or weeks instead of generations. And it comes at a cost. RNA editing is so prevalent in octopuses that it seems to have slowed down their DNA evolution. They're sacrificing long-term genetic change for short-term flexibility. It's a strategic trade-off. And it suggests a level of adaptive sophistication we never predicted in invertebrates. But the RNA editing raises a disturbing question. If octopuses can rewrite their own biology in real time, and they have distributed intelligence across multiple semi-autonomous brains, what exactly is an octopus? Where does the individual end and the collective begin? We don't know, because we don't have a framework for understanding intelligence that isn't centralized, that isn't hierarchical, that doesn't have a single self making decisions. The octopus might not be one intelligence. It might be 9 intelligences cooperating, or competing, or both. And we only started asking these questions 5 years ago. Now let's talk about learning, because this is where octopuses go from weird to genuinely unsettling. In 2009, researchers in Italy conducted an experiment. They placed 2 octopuses in adjacent tanks, separated by clear glass. One octopus, the demonstrator, was presented with a puzzle. A jar containing a crab, screw-top lid. The octopus had to unscrew the lid to get the food. The demonstrator struggled, tried different approaches, eventually figured it out, unscrewed the lid, got the crab. Meanwhile, the second octopus, the observer, watched. It couldn't reach the demonstrator's jar. It just watched through the glass. Then the researchers gave the observer its own jar. Same puzzle. Screw-top lid, crab inside. The observer solved it immediately. First try. No trial and error. It had learned by watching. Social learning. Observational learning. The kind of cognition we associate with primates, dolphins, and corvids. Not mollusks. Not creatures with distributed brains and zero parental care. Because here's the thing about octopuses. They're solitary. They don't raise their young. Females lay eggs and die. The hatchlings are on their own from day one. There's no opportunity for cultural transmission. No parents teaching offspring, no multi-generational knowledge transfer, and yet they can learn from each other, which means the capacity for social learning evolved even in a species that doesn't socialize, even in a lineage where it provides no obvious evolutionary advantage. Why? We don't know. But it suggests that intelligence, real, flexible, adaptive intelligence, might be more common than we thought. It doesn't require specific evolutionary pressures. It just emerges, given enough neurons and enough complexity. And if you're sitting there wondering how many other assumptions about animal intelligence are completely wrong, you're asking the right question. Make sure you're subscribed, because what I'm about to show you next is even more disturbing. We found an octopus city, underwater, with architecture, social structures, behaviors we can't explain, and it changes everything we thought we knew about octopus evolution. In 2017, researchers discovered something off the coast of Australia that shouldn't exist, a site they named Atlantis, an octopus city. Octopuses are supposed to be solitary, territorial, aggressive toward each other. They mate, then separate. They don't gather. They don't build communities. But at Atlantis, dozens of octopuses were living in close proximity, in dens they'd constructed from shells, rocks, and debris, and they were interacting, communicating, defending territories, establishing social hierarchies. It looked like a city, crude, alien, but unmistakably organized, and it wasn't unique. In 2021, researchers found a second site, Octopuses. Similar structure, multiple octopuses, constructed dens, social interaction. These weren't accidents, these were deliberate aggregations. Octopuses choosing to live near each other despite having the entire ocean available. Why? The leading hypothesis is resource availability. Both sites are near scallop beds, rich food sources, and when food is abundant and concentrated, the benefits of staying near the food outweigh the costs of tolerating neighbors. But that doesn't explain the architecture. The dens aren't random piles of shells. They're constructed, reinforced. Some have multiple entrances, escape routes, defensive positions. Octopuses don't have opposable thumbs, no hands, just 8 flexible arms covered in suckers, and yet they're building structures, moving rocks, stacking shells, creating fortifications. It's tool use, construction, spatial reasoning, the cognitive building blocks of civilization. And we're watching it happen in real time in a species we assumed was incapable of social complexity. But the social behavior at Octopuses gets even stranger because the octopuses aren't just tolerating each other, they're communicating. In 2023, researchers analyzing footage from Octopuses documented something remarkable. Octopuses changing color in specific patterns when approaching each other. Not camouflage, not alarm colors. Deliberate, repeated sequences. Dark stripes on arms, light spots on head, flash of red, back to neutral. It looked like signaling. Visual language, and different octopuses use different patterns. Individual variation. Possible dialects. We can't decode it yet. We don't know what they're saying, but the pattern consistency suggests meaning, intent, information transfer, language. Maybe. Possibly. We're not sure. Because we don't know what octopus language would even look like. We're looking for syntax, grammar, structure. But maybe octopus communication is something else entirely, something we don't have words for. And then there's the throwing, the deliberate, targeted throwing of objects. In 2022, researchers published video evidence of octopuses picking up shells, silt, and algae and throwing them, not randomly, at specific targets, usually fish that were bothering them, pestering them near their dens. The octopus would gather debris with its arms, position it, then use a jet of water from its siphon to launch the debris, like a biological catapult. And the aim was good. Not perfect, but better than random. The octopuses were hitting fish, driving them away, defending territory using projectile weapons. This is tool use, projectile tool use, and it's intentional. The octopuses don't throw when fish aren't present. They don't throw randomly. They assess the situation, decide the fish is annoying, gather ammunition, aim, fire. It's not instinct, it's problem solving. Fish is bothering me. I can't reach fish, but I can throw things at fish. Let's throw things at fish. The cognitive chain required for this, problem identification, tool selection, motor planning, execution, is sophisticated, and we watched it happen in an animal with 9 distributed brains and 0 parental teaching. But here's the revelation that really captures how alien octopus intelligence is. The color-changing dreams we started with, they're not just random neural firing. In 2024, researchers published an analysis of octopus dream patterns. They found that the color changes during REM sleep match the color changes octopuses use during specific waking behaviors. Dark camouflage colors during sleep correlate with hunting behaviors when awake. Alarm colors during sleep correlate with defensive behaviors when awake. The octopuses are rehearsing, practicing, processing experiences. Dreams aren't a side effect of having a complex brain. They're a functional cognitive tool. Memory consolidation, skill refinement, emotional processing. And octopuses have this. Despite having a brain architecture nothing like ours, despite being separated from us by 500 million years of evolution, despite being mollusks, intelligence doesn't require a backbone. It doesn't require a centralized brain. It doesn't require mammalian neural architecture. It just requires enough complexity and enough selective pressure, and evolution will find a way. The octopus found a completely different way, and it works. So where does this leave us? What do we actually know about octopus intelligence? We know they have distributed cognition across 9 semi-autonomous brains. We know they edit their RNA in real time to adapt. We know they learn socially despite being solitary. We know they build structures. We know they communicate visually. We know they use tools. We know they dream. But here's what we don't know. How do the 9 brains coordinate? What are they saying to each other with color patterns? Why did they suddenly start building cities? How sophisticated is their memory? Do they have a sense of self? We don't know. Because we've only been asking these questions for 15 years. Before that, we assumed octopuses were simple, reflexive, incapable of real cognition. And now we're scrambling to catch up, to redesign experiments, to build new theoretical frameworks, to figure out how to study an intelligence that doesn't work like ours. But time is running out. Because octopuses face threats we're only beginning to understand. They're short-lived. Most species live 1 to 2 years, maybe 5 for giant Pacific octopuses. They reproduce once and die. Females stop eating after laying eggs. They guard the eggs until they hatch, then they die. Programmed death, it's called semelparity. And it's bizarre. An animal this intelligent, this adaptable, dying after one reproductive event. Why? We don't know. It might be genetic, it might be hormonal, but it's universal across octopus species, which means there's no multi-generational knowledge transfer. No cultural accumulation. Every octopus starts from zero, learns everything independently, dies before passing it on. Imagine if humans did this. Imagine if every generation had to rediscover fire, reinvent the wheel, figure out language from scratch. That's what octopuses do. And yet they're still intelligent, still problem-solving, still building cities. It suggests that intelligence is more robust than we thought, more inevitable. Given the right conditions, it emerges, fast, even without the scaffolding of culture. But it also means octopuses are vulnerable. Climate change is altering ocean chemistry, temperature, oxygen levels, and octopuses, with their short lifespans and single reproductive events, can't adapt fast enough. Some populations are already declining. Habitat loss, overfishing, pollution. If we lose them, we lose more than a species. We lose a window into an alien intelligence, a completely different solution to the problem of cognition, a blueprint we're only beginning to understand. We were wrong about the brain structure, about the learning capacity, about the social behavior, about the dreams, about almost everything. The only thing we got right? They're smart. We just had no idea how smart or how different. Because somewhere right now, in the waters off Australia, there's an octopus in Octopuses. It's building a den, stacking shells, watching a neighbor, learning, adapting. Tonight, it will sleep and it will dream. Colors will ripple across its skin, brown for hunting, white for alarm. A narrative we can see but not understand. It doesn't know it's rewriting neuroscience. It doesn't know it's forcing us to reconsider what intelligence even means. It doesn't know we spent a century dismissing it as a simple reflex machine. It's just being an octopus, thinking with 9 brains, editing its RNA, building, learning, dreaming. And we're only just beginning to realize what we're looking at. Sleep well.